Hi everyone, I'm Sierra, and today I'm going to be talking to you about why you should be an organ donor. So, maybe you're considering being an organ donor, or you already are, or you're that person that says, absolutely not, I don't want to do that, please just don't ask. Well, hopefully after today's presentation, you'll be actually willing to say yes to being an organ donor, or you'll at least have a more positive outlook on it and just good attitudes overall. So the first time we actually see this question is on our driver's license application. And, we see it at a young age, and it's the first time we get to drive, and we got to answer all these questions before we can get that license in our hand. And they kind of just throw this one in there at you. They want you to give it little to no thought. Just say yes or no right now. And in reality, we should be giving it so much more thought than 30 seconds or so. As of February 2021, there are over 107,000 people on the organ transplant waiting list, and a new name is added every 9 minutes. That's a lot of people waiting for a transplant, and we need more donors to sign up because unfortunately, 17 people die each day waiting for an organ donation. And actually, according to the 2019 National Survey of Organ Donation Attitudes and Practices, 90% of the U.S. population is in support of organ donation. You may be thinking that's so great that so much of us, we support this idea and this cause. But unfortunately, they found only 50% of the population is signed up to be donors. And the real question here is why so much support but so little involvement? Especially with statistics that have been proven that one donor can save up to 8 lives. Now, we believe that a lot of the lack of support in this is because of some of the negative attitudes and concerns and maybe even myths that surround organ donation. And I want to address some of these today with you, and hopefully show that you should still sign up to be an organ donor. So the actual number one reason why people won't sign up for organ donation is because they're concerned that if they're an organ donor, they will not receive adequate care when they come to the hospital. This simply is not true. When you show up to a hospital to receive care for a disease, an illness, an injury, medical staff is required to give 100% effort into saving your life. So if you were to show up and they're an organ donor, they're not going to look at your charts and say, oh, we think you're a good applicant, are you sure you want us to help? This will not happen. And actually, according to the U.S. government information in organ donation and transplant, you have to die under certain circumstances to be an organ donor. This includes showing up to a hospital with a traumatic head injury because of an aneurysm, a stroke. These are specific reasons and circumstances you need to present for to be considered. And even then, you will be placed on life support, and they will do everything they can to save your life. But unfortunately, you may pass, and even then, they aren't just going to call someone and start the process. They will first do a series of tests to confirm that you are brain dead, and they will address your family before making this decision. Then and only then will they call an organization to start that organ transplant process and find a recipient. Another big one that people are worried about is, what if I want to be a donor, but I don't want to go against my religion or against my beliefs? Well, Penn Medicine actually found that a lot of the major religions in the U.S. support organ donation. This included Roman Catholicism, Islam, most branches of Judaism, and even most Protestant faiths. They considered organ donation to be an act of compassion and generosity and encouraged followers to sign up to be organ donors. And, you may be questioning, I'm not really fully sure, and that's when you should contact a spiritual advisor and ask these questions because you never know if you could be saying yes to being an organ donor and saving a life. Another big one that people are always worried about is, they say, what if I'm too old, I'm too young, or just not overall healthy enough to be an organ donor? And these are great concerns, but there's some reasons why you should still say yes, despite these questions. And a big one is because, we should encourage minors to sign up, mainly because there are a lot of kids on the organ transplant waiting list. And as we know, kids' organs are, still under a development process, so they can't always accept those adult organs for transplant. And if you are, excited and you want to help someone in need and you are a minor, you should talk with your family members about this and, your wishes and things that you want to happen if you would ever unexpectedly pass. Now, say unfortunately you do pass at a young age. Medical staff will not make this decision without contacting your legal guardian or parent first. They will be the ones who ultimately make that decision, even if you said yes to being a donor as a minor. Now, on the other end of that spectrum, you may be saying, what if I'm too old to be a donor? Like, nobody will want my organs. I'm too old for this. There's actually no cutoff age for organ donation, and it really should be left up to a medical doctor to make this decision for you, because even if your organs aren't suitable for transplant, they can still utilize tissue that'll be very helpful to someone in need or even for research. The same thing kind of goes for people who think they aren't healthy enough to be an organ donor. And there's actually very few medical conditions that disqualify you from organ donation. And once again, this should be left up to a medical doctor to make that decision. So don't disqualify yourself prematurely because of these concerns. Another one that people are worried about is that, if I donate my organs, I can't have an open casket funeral. And this isn't true. People who undergo this procedure, yes, it is considered a major surgery, but your body is still treated with the utmost respect and care. And even when you do pass and you have your funeral, reminder that you will be fully clothed in an open casket funeral and you will be lying flat on your back. No one should be able to tell that you underwent a major surgery. So I wouldn't be too concerned about this, but if you have questions about the procedure and what it entails, maybe reach out to your medical doctor. The last one that everyone's really worried about, is say I want to say yes to organ donation and I want to help save lives, but I do not want to put a financial burden on my family once I have passed. Well, organ donators are not responsible for the financial burden of this surgery. The person who should actually be paying is the organ recipient. Now, because you did go to a hospital and life-saving efforts were performed, your family will receive a bill for that. And this is most often not the mistake that people see, and they are worried that, this large bill is because of the procedure. It's not. It's just because your overall stay at the hospital. And if you do have questions and concerns about your bill, you should always reach out to the hospital. So say after all of this, we've addressed all these questions and concerns, and just unfortunately, you are not considered for organ donation. Well, you should still say yes to being an organ donor. And that's because it can be utilized for very important research. According to the Department of Health and Resource Services Administration, only 3 out of 1,000 people can actually donate their organs because they have to die under those certain circumstances. And you may be saying, that's a really low number. How do I even know I'll get to be the person that donates? And you're right, that is a low number. But we should still say yes to becoming an organ donor because your organs can be utilized for important research and saving lives still. According to the UW Health Organ Procurement Organization, because of organ donation, there has been groundbreaking treatment options like islet cell transplantation, and there's even ongoing studies still on lung rejection management, heart transplant using cardiac death donors' hearts, and even improving the viability of organs during transportation for transplantation. And this is only possible because people are willing to donate their organs. Now I'm going to ask the question one more time. Would you like to become an organ donor? And hopefully now that I've addressed some concerns and questions, the answer will be yes. And you'll be willing to say, I want to be an organ donor now. Mainly because now you know you can save a friend, a family, or maybe even a stranger. And even once you have passed, you will continue to choose life and save lives. Thank you.